Oh, it's been a tough week for the club and Adelaide's Indigenous family, past and present. Club cultures in question. Staff are hurting. Let's not forget Taylor. Joining us is Adelaide GM of footy, Adam Kelly. Adam, there are no winners here.
No. Good afternoon, Rowie. No, it's been a very tough week. That's probably an understatement. So it's a significant issue that we're dealing with as a club. And I think anything that threatens the connection of people within your group causes you great concern, and that's why we must proceed with great sensitivity and seek to understand the impact that this has had on all of our people, and how we're going to bring our group back together and move forward.
Are you confident the Indigenous arm of your club, from Dr. Thomas down, will forgive and welcome Taylor back?
I think with that one, time will tell. And we've obviously been through an initial process of Taylor expressing his apologies to our group, and particularly to our Indigenous players and staff, and to our past players as well. I think it's really important now that we take the time to fully understand their thoughts and the impact that this incident has had on them, and for them to be able to express their viewpoint so that we can make a considered decision around what the next steps look like. And we acknowledge that we certainly don't have the expertise internally to be able to manage through this effectively, and we need to seek counsel from others that can guide us through that. And that's what we're doing, and hopefully we're doing it in a considered and careful manner so that we respect our Indigenous players and staff, including our past players, and that's first and foremost in our thoughts.
Who have you lent on? Who are the names you've got involved to help with the process of reconciliation?
Yeah, look, we've reached out to people who are employed at the AFL who have been kind enough to support us through that. And, we'll be guided by, I guess, our people internally, but we just feel it's important that when we're facilitating discussions and looking to manage our way forward, we seek advice and counsel from others. And to this point, we feel like we're very grateful for the advice that we're getting, and certainly approaching things in a different manner to what we might typically, because I guess there are cultural sensitivities that we're certainly not familiar with, and we're all attempting to do the right thing and ensure that what we say and what we do are sensitive to the people that have been affected by this.
Have you spoken to Tex, and when's he welcome back, Adam? You got your B&F coming up?
Yeah, look, I think Taylor's acknowledged there's time required to heal and mend relationships. I've been in regular contact with Taylor over the last week, and what he has said publicly is an accurate reflection of how he is feeling and the deep remorse that he has for the comments that he's made. I think he's more shocked than anyone with respect to what's happened, and he's got a process that he's working through. Hopefully for him, each day gets a little bit easier for him to accept what has happened and to chart a path forward. But this has certainly rocked Taylor, and he's obviously hurting because of everything that's happened.
Tim Silvers in the media offered no real guarantees for Tex in 2022. You and Matty Nix, and rightly so, need to be joined at the hip. He looked broken in the presser, hurt and angry. Is he ready to forgive? And I don't expect you to answer for him, but what about you as well? You want Taylor back next year?
Yeah, I think the important thing, and something we have spoken about as a group, is forgiveness is not always immediate, and any time somebody close to you disappoints you with something that they've done, you go through that process of working through that relationship, and sometimes there are things that you can overcome, and sometimes they're not. So that's a difficulty here, that it's still fairly raw, and our focus is really on the immediate future, and our priority is to seeking to understand the effect this has had on our people. And what's crystal clear is that our people need to be able to walk through the doors of the club and feel that they belong, and that's our priority at the moment. And Taylor knows that he's damaged relationships, and in time, he's hopeful, and we're hopeful that he can mend those relationships with not only our Indigenous players and staff, but any other person who might feel aggrieved or affected by the comments that he's made.
LOGM of footy, Adam Kelly, our guest. Did the club have much say in the apology, the set of the apology, the wording of the apology, and then the release time of 6:15 after the day's news cycle? We're getting a lot of texts canning both of those, Adam, from the club's perspective.
Yeah, look, I don't believe so. What Taylor said last night is in line with the apology that he delivered to our staff and our players last Friday. So my best guess is they are absolutely Taylor's words, and that he meant every word that he said. With respect to the timing of it, I don't think it'd be fair to criticise the timing around that. I think it was in line with an apology that he was delivering last night to the North Adelaide Football Club. So, no, I think that people, I'd encourage people to take what Taylor said as an accurate reflection of how he was feeling, and I certainly endorse that being the case.
Thank you. Tom Lynch, no contract for 2022. Will he play the last two games if selected? What's the mindset there?
Yeah, he will. Lynch is in our best 22 at the moment, and I wouldn't forecast that he'd be out of the team. Definitely hold his spot over the remaining two games, and because he deserves to do so. He had a strong game on the weekend. Is particularly good in that first half, and we forecast that he'll hold his spot. Hopefully that gives him the opportunity, and especially in that final game against North Melbourne at home, for the fans to say thank you to Lynchy for what has been a significant contribution to the footy club. He's a much loved member of the team, and it's not just about for our fans. It's probably more so to do with what he's been able to do on the field, but for those who've worked closely with him, as much so for what he does off the field. And we've got a mantra of prioritising others, and I don't think there's any better player exemplar of that than Tom Lynch. He goes out of his way to make sure that he gives support to all of his teammates, and that extends into our AFLW program. So he's been a wonderful servant of the footy club.
Matt Crouch is out for the rest of the year. You've put him on ice. I heard the article or read the article on the AFC media release. You pretty much said you put him to pasture to look after him for season 2022. He's a restricted free agent. That would suggest to me you've signed him, Kels.
Well, we're in discussions with Matt and his management. We hope that he's going to be staying with the club. Those conversations are active. We've said to Matt, look, he's proven himself as a quality AFL footballer, and as the year went on and he was becoming increasingly frustrated post his groin surgery, as we built up his lows and he was experiencing the groin soreness, and there was a few setbacks along the way. Ultimately, we said, look, let's just focus on making sure that you're back to full health, and work on your strength leading into 2022, and we'll take a long-term view on that. And those conversations with respect to his contract will continue over the coming weeks.
Mm-hmm. Paul Seasman, has he agreed to terms?
Yeah, so Paul had a trigger within his contract, which has extended his contract out to the end of season 2022.
And Daniel Talia?
Yeah, with Tales, we're again, it's another one that we haven't got absolute certainty on at the moment. Conversations continuing with Daniel, and we'd expect that we'll be in a position to make some confirmation of his future in the coming weeks.
Okay, round 22 v Melbourne. When and where? We still don't know, and it's Tuesday.
Yeah, I guess that it's been slated down for in Melbourne, so I guess the first objective would be to try and make that happen. And if that was to be the case, we'd be relying on the state government to provide an exemption for us to be able to go into Melbourne and then back out of. We've done something similar in the past where we travel day a game, and then once we get back, we go into a quarantine period for a short term, and other associated risk mitigating measures. We'd imagine that'll be the first objective. And if that fails, I'm not really sure what the secondary option might be. 4:30,
Adam Kelly, our guest. Rolly O'Brien, just breaking news. He's got a bung knee and he's out this week.
Yeah, it's really disappointing for Rolly. We were hopeful that the scans, and it's not demonstrating any significant damage, so he's a possibility to play in that final game. But yeah, we're not going to take a risk with Rolly this weekend. Unfortunately, that list of injuries has just grown in the last week, with both Hamill and Smith being ruled out with concussion protocols, and now with Rolly O'Brien being ruled out with a knee injury. We're fortunate that we had a strong sample performance on the weekend. We know there's a few players there who'd be having their hand up nice and high to get back into the AFL team.
Kieran Strawn's one, and I think Billy Frampton deserves another crack. Kells, tough time. Fortis in Priscilla. That means strength in adversity. You've got that. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Roy.
Yeah, tough talk. Tough time.
It is indeed plenty of things to get through. There are a full board of calls. There are a ton of Automasters texts. And Toby Green is at the tribunal right now. That case has just started. All that next.